Everyone, hello and welcome to the Soul Food Book Club, where we fill our soul with wonderful, amazing writings. And today we're so excited to have the author of the current book that we are reading. And please, if anyone has a copy of that, hold it up. It is called Games Psychics Play, and the author is Cass Hillard. Cass, welcome into our group again.
Hi, everybody. Thank you so much for having me back.
We're thrilled that you're here with us. We have our beautiful Soul Food family, Auntie Jean Lorio.
Hello, everyone.
Christina Leftwich, Charlie Coons.
Hello, everyone.
And Aunt Mary Lou.
Hello. Hi, Cass.
And
Hello.
Linda must be having some technical problems because she's popping in and out, but hopefully she'll come in and stay in with us. So let's get right to it. How are we enjoying this book, everyone?
Love it.
It was quite a learning experience for me. I loved it. I'm wondering, Cass, you can tell by the way that you wrote it, you put your whole heart into helping others understand the basics of psychics and the different ways that we can learn and try to express ourselves through that way. And I wondered what's one of your favorite chapters that you've written on this topic in your book? You can tell you loved every one of them, but is there a favorite?
Well, I did. I don't know if there's a favorite chapter, but I really liked sharing the stories, of the different things that I'd experienced. And, what was important for me is what was really difficult is remembering that people who are going to read the book might be beginners or just a little bit beyond. And it was just good for me to actually review what I knew, and I'd forgotten that I knew some of the things that I knew, if that makes any sense. So that was fun for me to go, oh yeah, that's right. But I really liked sharing the stories because it was important for me that the reader knows that they can do this. They can absolutely trust themselves, and they can do it. I hope that answered your question.
It did. Thank you.
Yeah.
The stories are always the favorites, I think, because they come from deep within yourself. Yeah, so I understand what you're saying about the stories.
Yeah, and it was fun to relive those stories too. I'd forgotten a lot of them, and in spirit, as spirit does, when spirit is reminding you of things, there it was. It's like, oh yes, I remember that, and and just having to laugh at myself and some of the things that I had done. That was fun.
Thanks.
Yeah, thank you.
I have a couple of questions, Cass. First of all, I want to tell you, I hope you're feeling all better from your surgery. Thank you for coming. I know you've had a rough few weeks, so I hope you're all better. And then I have a couple of questions to ask. And I kind of ran across them in your book. And I want to tell you, I haven't quite finished it, so you may have answered them in the book once I get there. But something that's always been of concern to me, and you mentioned it a couple of times, is when you are doing a reading or whatever it is you're doing, a healing, but a reading mostly, how do you know for sure if what's coming through to you is that person's from that person, or you're okay? One of your stories, you were doing a reading for someone and you got this message very strongly about moving and being in a different kind of a house and all this. And then you found out later that the message was yours, not hers, that it was for you. And this is something that has been a question of mine, because sometimes you pick up energies from spirits, or you pick up energies from people who are around, not just the person you're working with. And it's hard, that for me anyway, to tell for sure whose energy, whose message I'm getting, because sometimes I think, I think it's for them and it's not for them. It's for me or for somebody else. It's in the group. So that, I wondered if you've learned some way to establish for sure who you're getting the message from.
Well, the best thing I can tell you is practice. And then you can always ask your intuition, because, let's say that you and I are together and something comes through and I speak, I tell you what I'm getting, because I'm assuming, first of all, that the message is for you. And you go, I don't think so. Then I can go within and say, well, is this message for me? And let my intuition tell me. And if it's a no, well, is it for somebody that you know? Is it, a message that should be passed on through you? So you can ask your intuition about that. But that one is difficult, because I even find myself now, there are things that I want an answer to be, and it maybe isn't so I'll make it that way. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
so it's
I know
really,
what you mean.
that's the tough one, to just not have any filters there, just accept what you get, and there you go. Your intuition is the best thing that I can do to tell you, is just ask and keep practicing, because it can be so subtle that you might miss it.
Well, that goes on to the other part I was going to ask you, and it's not really a question, it's a statement. What thrilled me was the fact that you had this encounter with a child in the car who had passed. And you had decided that the encounter was for him, not for his mother or someone else in his family. And that thrilled me, because sometimes you get these messages and you think, should I say it or should I not? And it runs through your head that if the message was given to you, maybe you have to say it, even if you don't think you should. But you used your intuition to know. So that was a blessing for me too, because, there are times when you say, no, no, I shouldn't do that. I should keep that to myself. So, okay, so that was a real big help.
Oh, good. And that one, when he showed up, I seriously, I was sitting just like I am now in my car, and there he was. All of a sudden, he's sitting right there. And first of all, that was one of the first times that had ever happened. So it was shocking to me. I wasn't expecting it, but it was so strong. That feeling was so strong. And I struggled with it, because I thought, well, surely his mother should know this. Surely she should. And I was really, really glad that I listened to my mentor and myself. And it's like, no, it was really for him, because you're right. He was confused, and I really would have no right intruding on his family's grief. They had no idea who I was. I'd never met them. So yeah, it was definitely for that little boy.
Thank you for that.
Thank you.
For that lesson.
Yeah.
Yeah, I really liked a couple of chapters. spiritual guides. It went into, we sometimes forget that we have all the different guides and everything. And then the other one was mediumship, the difference between a medium and a psychic. And, some people don't understand, and, the difference and everything. And when you spell that out in black and white, it was easy to understand. And I was wondering right now if you had a grasshopper on the hood of your car.
If what?
You had a grasshopper on the hood of your car. You stopped on your way to Minneapolis.
Oh, that grasshopper was huge. You saw the picture. He was huge. And he did not want to leave. He did not want to leave. He stayed there. And I thought, oh my gosh. Well, I can be a little stubborn sometimes. Sometimes it takes a brick to get through to me.
Well, there's a message in everything.
That is the truth.
Yes. So, yeah.
So I appreciate it. I'm just kind of.
I was going to say I really enjoyed the book.
Oh, thank you, Charlie. I'm so glad. I'm so glad.
I just wanted to piggyback a little bit on what was said about, what you were saying about it's basic and beyond, very basic material. But I appreciated it just to revisit myself again. I really did. It was just like, it was kind of like brushing up, in the medical field. We're always taught that it goes back to the ABCs when you're especially in emergency medicine. And it just kind of narrows it down to just some of the basics. Like I noticed this week, as a matter of fact, I was bringing my daughter to her classes at college. And just as I was walking out to the car, I was like, you really should check to see about construction. Well, I ignored it. And sure enough, when we got on the very last road that we were going to turn on, there was a detour that I had to turn around and backtrack. And I was I went, I even had said something to my daughter. Oh, darn it. I meant to look before I started down the road to see whether there was any construction in our way. And then when we ever ran into it, I was just like, yeah, see, you're not listening. You're not listening. It was very clear. The message was very clear to see if there was construction ahead, But I appreciated that revisitation. It's making me more aware again, where maybe some of my things have gotten rusty. It's really, I'm like, oh yeah. And the techniques that you have such a variety of different techniques and things that you can try, that even if it was something I was familiar with, I again had to kind of revisit that and use different techniques. And certainly there were some that I was like, I'm going to start using that technique more often than, because I just simply didn't know that technique before. And now I'm like, oh yeah, I'm going to try that. So I really appreciated it as not necessarily a beginner. But the information was there's just so much to try. And like I said, just kind of brushed up on some of the things that maybe had kind of fallen out a little bit. So
Cool. Thanks. Yeah, I think it's easy for us to get that. It goes back to the simplest of things. We try and make things so complicated, and there's no need. But it's fun when you learn something new. It's like a new toy. You don't want to put it down, and then the next thing comes along and you forget that one. And so then, oh yeah, back in my closet here, oh, I'd forgotten I love this, and so it is fun to do it, and try different things. And honestly, if you've tried doing them, some of them are really hard to do. As simple as they sound, because there are some that I put in the book that I'm really not that good at. I still am practicing because it's not one of the clairs that that is my strongest suit, but I keep trying. So I had to go back and practice some of the same ones that I put in the book. So yeah, I got you.
Awesome. Stacy is with us in the audience, and she says, I love the exercises in the book. It got me back to things I had forgotten about doing. So I think that goes along with what you said, Christina. Sometimes, even though we know that's there in our toolkit, we just don't reach far enough in to bring it out. And this was just a reminder that we have all of that, and we can reach in anytime and use these beautiful tools. And Isabel is with us. Hi, Isabel. And Linda didn't make it back in, so hopefully she's listening to us anyway, because I think she might have had some questions or input about the book. But I just wanted to thank you, Cass, for the book and for putting it out there for all of us. It's wonderful.
Did everybody try an exercise?
Thank you.
Did everybody try like one of the exercises this week?
Yeah.
I did work on the cleanser one when I was in the shower. And, this one is on page 18. It says, what is a perfect cleanser? Whenever you wash your hands or shower, imagine psychic debris going down the drain. And you can spritz a mixture of water and oil all over yourself, aligning your chakras, or smudging may be beneficial. If you choose to smudge, be mindful not to use vulnerable or endangered plant materials. I believe we're always divinely protected. In these ways, however, to add extra layers of protection should you feel you need to. And, I remembered Teri being at my house recently, and we did a land blessing, and we placed oil on the materials that we used to put the tobacco into the ground to give an offering back to Gaia and our creator. And we put the blessed oils on there, and then I sensed the cleansing that was going to be happening, as we placed that into the ground, and the beauty of being able to use something as simple as oil to do that. And it was a very powerful moment for me when Teri, offered to use oils from St. Padre Pio that we had talked about with Christina, and I had oils from a favorite saint of mine, and it was very meaningful, very special. And again, it was just a simple everyday thing that we have in our homes that we can use, and it was a great reminder, Cass. Thanks. Yeah. I like that part of it. Anybody else do anything?
Yes, but I did, but I worked on the energy, that feeling the energies is what I worked on. But I'm glad you talked about the oils, because I was going to ask about that, because I've been using Padre Pio oil. It's the only one I have. And I was going to ask what you use for cleansing oils and for blessing oils. What kind of oils do you use?
Are you asking me?
Well, I'm really asking anybody. Because
yeah.
I don't know. For me, I can just tell you, for me, it's what I'm drawn to at the time. I mean, I don't think that there's any one special oil unless it's special to you. And so, for me, it's whatever I'm drawn to that day. It's kind of the same thing that I do with some of my crystals and stuff like that. If I'm going to bring in something, it's just whatever feels right at that time is good enough. I think we as humans need to have that visual. And so if a visual or a smell or anything like that means the intent in our heart, then that's the way it's going to come out. We put the blessing into whatever it is that's happening, even if we have nothing. Because I like to remind people, you don't have to have oils and you don't have to have crystals. Those are all tools most of the time that we use. But you don't have to have that, just the intent. And then, of course, any intent that you put on anything else, that's what it's going to be.
That's so right,
I
Christine.
agree.
We give it the meaning.
Right.
I'm sorry, Cass, I interrupted you.
Nope, I agree. I agree. And you guys are breaking up a bit for me, so I apologize if you're asking me a question and I'm looking at you like that. You know, like that commercial.
So I did some writing. I did some writing with a friend. I did some of that automatic writing, and I really don't know how it's come out yet. I sat with her and I wrote it down, and then I gave her what I wrote down. And I haven't necessarily heard back how that is going. But at the same time, life has been quite chaotic in my world the last week, where nothing is like nothing bad. I don't want to act like it's been terrible, because it hasn't been, but it's been very chaotic. So for us to get back together again, to kind of go over, so I can kind of ask her, for some feedback on how that went, hasn't happened. But that is the first time I've ever done automatic writing. It was a little weird.
Yeah. Yeah, at first it does feel weird. Yeah. That's so
And
glad.
I also liked your words, where you took the words and then put your meaning to them. I found that to be a very good exercise for me, even if it was just to take that moment. It was almost like a self-care thing. It was almost like a meditation thing, where I got to take and sit down. You have a chart in the book, just so everybody knows what I'm talking about. There's a chart in the book, and Cass has given us like words to kind of think about, what does that mean to me? Because if I'm trying to read a situation or a person or anything like that, it's probably going to come to me in a way that I might be able to understand it. And so I think it was a good exercise to kind of see what my own relationship was with some of these words. So now I actually have like a little book that's going, where I'm kind of keeping what this symbolized, you know what I mean? And when it does come out, what it was. And so anyways, I love that exercise too. I did do that one as well.
Is that the spiritual symbology list?
Yes, of words. Yeah. Yes. Yeah.
That was cool.
I'm curious, Christine, did you want to do more than 5 at a time?
I did want to do more than 5 at a time. It was in some of them. In other ones, though, I got kind of hung up, because I realized that I had way more than one feeling about a word. And so that really made me think, okay, so is there a bodily sensation or something when I think of this word in this way as opposed to this way? Is there a color? I really tried to zero in on that, but the whole exercise I found, just that's a fun one, is to try to sit with words. And it was funny how some of them I didn't think they were going to mean so much. Some of them I just was like, oh, okay, wow, huh.
That's very cool. That's very cool. Yeah, because if you think about, if for any of us, like for instance, grandma, what does that mean? Now, some of us might have had really, that cuddly grandma, and you get that warm feeling, or you smell cookies, and others might have had a very stern grandmother. So it can't apply the same reaction can't apply to each of us, and I didn't have any grandmother, so I have that was really hard. So I think I made it up in my mind what If,
Grandma.
if a grandmother figure comes through, what that is for me, what I would have liked it to have been. But yeah, it's very interesting. But that's how you know in a reading that that's what that is, because you'll either feel it, there's a feeling that comes off, or you might see it, or a scent, you might smell something or hear something. It is fascinating, but in my experience, if you do more than 5 at a time, you're kind of muddying the waters because there is so much.
I guess it's kind of like when you do taste tests and they say you have to wash your palate in between.
Same idea.
Yeah, exactly. Plus, you can get it can be really tiring too. We don't realize that energy work oftentimes is it taxes you. It can tax you,
Yes.
So
Yes.
that's why I put in there just do 5 at a time, and then keep your list going.
Right, as you practice. That's what I mean, is it's like now there were some things that came out in the automatic writing, for instance, that I was not sure exactly what it represented. And so I kind of sat with those.
Cool.
And it could maybe have nothing to do with me at all. Like I said, I was doing automatic writing for someone. So it may not have been my attachment at all.
Is automatic writing, or what you're talking about, the same as like when this thought pops into your head and you just write it down? No, it's different, because that happens to me a lot. I've got so many notebooks that just have 1 or 2 lines because something will come to my mind, and I write it down, and then sometimes I read it, and it's not that it doesn't make sense, but I don't know why I wrote it. Like I have one that I remember right off is I wrote down, not to worry, the children of light are here and they are going to help the situation. And I had written it down. And then I'm like, I knew what it said, but I don't know why I wrote it down. It just popped into my head. So that's not automatic writing. Yes, no?
Automatic writing, to me, it's more purposeful.
Okay.
You're purposefully seeking an answer.
Okay.
You're purposefully seeking a connection. And it's a little different than channeled, which is more what I personally would have said you had done, because you weren't consciously thinking of it. It's just this came in. So to me, that's more channeled. But automatic writing, there's a purpose in the book. It's like, have a question you want answered, and then just let it come, blah, 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 blah.
Okay.
So, in other words, have a purpose for what you're going to do for your automatic writing. And it could be just as something as simple, okay, what does Jean need to hear? Blah, 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 and let it go.
Give that a try. As you can tell, I'm a novice at this, right? I have so many questions.
You're good. It's all good. So, others in the group might have a different perception or perspective on automatic writing, but that's how I do it.
Yeah, I learned it by using my non-dominant hand and just holding the pen in that and just letting whatever comes through come through. That way, you're not consciously telling your dominant hand what to write. It's flowing through you in a way that it's not you. It's what's coming through. So sometimes it was hard to read the words, but I always knew what the message was and what it was saying when I did it that way.
Interesting.
Interesting exercise for sure.
I'm gonna try that.
Yeah.
Oh, me too.
Well, Stacy said she did a few of the exercises. She did the cleaner, and she also did an aura exercise. And I love the aura exercises that you shared with us. You know, I do aura photography. So it's always interesting to see what comes out, what colors come out in those auras, and then to see what that means to have, let's say, blue on your right side, which is your expressive side, or what's going on in your heart. So I love anytime you work with the aura, I just love all of that because it's so amazing to me that we can actually see the auras of other people, of trees and plants and animals. Yeah,
You
I
should
work with
see
auras.
your aura. You should see your aura right now.
I tell you, Charlie, I've had some life-changing experiences up
like-
here in Vermont, and my
It-
aura has changed.
It's like,
Physical,
oh my God.
my physical being has changed. It's just amazing what's going on up here.
Yeah, your aura is like, wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, you got a yellow, green. Yeah, you got. Do you see it, Jean? Do you see
Uh-huh.
her?
I told her last night there was yellow and green in her
Oh
aura.
my God! And
It used to
on-
be
on
very,
top-
very
on top of-
white, but now
on top
it's
of the
white,
head,
but it
gets
has
bigger.
yellow and green.
On top of the head, it gets bigger.
Yeah.
It's like,
A
yeah,
lot of love in that aura.
yeah.
I knew you were going to find New England as a whole a magical
Oh,
place.
I know.
I say that all the time.
It's a magical place. It really is. If you all
Don't play
haven't
with the
been up here,
fairies there. You'll love it.
it's a fairy playground. That's really what it is. I just love the energy. Yeah.
Yeah.
Just wish they weren't so sneaky, you know?
Yeah,
It's
I
all
did.
fun. Yeah,
I
it's all
did like most of the exercises. The energy one I really can enjoy because I can feel the energy and I did playing cards with aces and stuff. I got pretty good at that one, and I just wish I'd be real good at that football one.
Oh, Charlie.
Because I play in the pool every week, and I never win it. I'm like right there, second or third, but there's always people ahead of me. So one of these times I'm going to win it. Yeah, but there's like 60 of us in it, so you know, there's a lot of people. You know. And then, of course, I'll pick it, and then I'll change it, which you should never do. You should go with your first instinct, you know. So, but anyway, yeah. No, they all the exercises are really good, and you know. And I mean, the one with the candle, I've done that, and I should probably get back to that again to strengthen my third eye and stuff like that. Yeah. Yeah, they're really good. A lot of them I didn't know about and stuff, so they're good just to, to do just to strengthen your intuition and everything else.
Glad you enjoyed them.
Yeah, and it was nice. I was able to. Well, Erica, she's working now, but I was reading the book with her, and we were able to do a lot of them together. So. She's working today, so she can't be here. But yeah, it was good to have a lot of them call for a partner, and I had someone because I was reading the book with her, so it was good.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and it really is important to have somebody that you can bounce things off from, and whether it's I'm not getting this or let me tell you what I got, and they'll believe you, and to be really honest, and so then, and also that you feel like you can share what you're experiencing too.
Right, like I had to go back and read stuff again for her and stuff, so she will understand it,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
and just having that, you know, you trust each other enough to be able to like really really say, oh, well, that doesn't mean a darn thing to me. I don't know what you're talking about. Or, you know, or yeah, that makes, you know, sense. And
Right.
Yep. Yep. And you know, and the girlfriend that I talk about in there, we still do that. Like she'll go and do an investigation somewhere, and I'll see if I can tune into it before, and then I give her all of my impressions, whatever I'm getting, and then she will go back wherever she's going to validate those. So that's really a lot of fun to do that.
Teamwork.
Yeah.
What it's all about. Grace Isis, we haven't heard from you. Did you want to share anything or ask any questions?
Oh no, sorry, thank you. I'm in the middle of waiting for a boiler guy, so I'm just listening. But thank you.
Well, thanks for being with us and listening into the conversation.
Yes, and thank you to Author Cass. Thank you so much for what you do, what you've brought
Oh.
forward. Thank you.
My pleasure. Thank you. Thank you.
Well, I just want to remind everybody that starting next week, we will be focused on Is There More to Life Than What We Know? Written by Joseph Labruto III. And Jean has her copy already, but it's disappearing into your background.
Let me
Mine
get the
came
background off.
Mine came yesterday.
Is there more to life
There
than
you
what we
go.
know?
There you go.
And Joseph is excited that we're reading it, and he will be with us to discuss it. So I'm really happy about that. Joseph's a dear friend of mine, and Stacy, and so we're going to corral him in here. So
Right. I just read like the introduction and everything, the table of contents, and it was like, wow, you know,
Oh, goodness.
all the different chapters, you know.
Cass, Joseph, this is a psychic that
medium, yeah.
medium that who's
He's
written
medium.
books. So that's what we're going to be delving. It just seemed to like it was a good evolution between your book and then jumping into another one of you know, along that vein.
Tell me the title. Show me the title again, so I can write it down.
Is there more to life than what we know?
And what's his name?
Joseph, last name is Labruto, Lobruto III.
Oh, excellent.
Yes, and you're very welcome to come into our book club at any time you want.
Oh,
And be here with
Oh,
us for
great.
discussions. We'd
I was
love
going
to
to
have you.
invite myself.
Yes,
gonna
please
invite myself.
join us. Yeah.
I like what you
Yes.
said, that all
Thank you.
mediums are psychics, but not all psychics are mediums.
Right.
And
I
that's an
brought that up
important thing
earlier.
to know. Yeah.
And I think Joseph will state that as well. Joseph is a psychic medium healer. He's just amazing. And I can't wait for you all to sit and have conversation with him. So Isabel is on with us. She forgot to buy Cass's book, but there's still time, Isabel, for you to buy that.
Oh, I've got to go
Please.
review it. That's the important thing.
Isabel, Joseph is very near you there in Florida. Isabel's in Wellington, and I know Joseph is in, I believe, North Palm Beach, somewhere very close to you. So, yeah.
I'm sorry, guys. I do have a question for Author Cass.
Okay.
Sorry, yeah, it just came up. The guy hasn't come yet. So, dear Cass, I wanted to find out: you've written the book, but are you out there? Can people contact you? And how did you start? Is this what helps you to? How do you travel with your gift on your journey? We know that there's the book now, but do you offer readings? Are you online? And how did that come about? Do you have the business aspect of your?
Well, I Okay, so I've always been able to do this. I just didn't always do it. You know what I mean? And I was I'm retired, and before I retired, I was a reflexologist, and I had a holistic healing center. So that's how I would use it when I would have people come to me, and I'm working on their feet. I would start to get messages, and it could be, sometimes it would be somebody who had passed would come in, which was not my intention in the first place, because I didn't really know that I could do it that much. It had happened when I was younger, but I kind of put it away.
Oh, wonderful.
So right now it's mostly just the book, and I've moved a lot. So to answer your question, I haven't found a space where I live right now to open up a practice, which is what I'd like to do. But I think really what's going to happen is I'm going to do more online teaching.
Oh, wonderful.
And don't you have a
Thank you.
Facebook page?
I do. It's called House of the Spirit.
House of the Spirit.
You said House of the Spirit or
House.
House?
Yep. Of the Spirit. It's all one word.
Okay, great. Thank you
So
very
you
much.
can go on you're very, very welcome.
Thank you.
I feel so
And
blessed.
I'm curious how everybody uses their gifts. Everybody in the group, how do you all use your gifts?
Well, I just get messages. My wife passed a little over a year and a half ago, and this is all like new to me. But I had the gift the whole time and never knew it. Like 20 years ago, my mother told me I was going to win an all-inclusive trip to the Dominican Republic. And she was on the other side when she told me. And my son used to play travel baseball, and to get your money back, you sold the chances. And the season was over, and there was a tournament game with a bunch of different teams. And my son says, the season's over. I'm not going to the game, I says, well, I'm going. My mom said I'm going to win this trip to the Dominican Republic. And he goes, get the heck out of here, And sure than anything, I won the trip to the Dominican Republic. So, that was 20 something years, 20 years ago. I think he's 12, he's 32, or 21 years ago, something like that. But so like that. And then once my wife passed away, I became spiritually awakened, and all my gifts of, and she comes to me, she gives me messages in the phone. I'll pick up the phone and there'll be something right on the phone in the comments, or my phone will do, the battery will go dead, and I'll open it up and it'll be, sending another message, like I was chanting, doing the listening to chanting while I'm cutting the grass for 2 hours. So then the phone discharged, the battery went dead. So I plug it in, and when it comes up, there's a picture of her and her 2 girlfriends, and it was a text, and under the text it says crazy good. So that was her telling me doing the chanting was crazy good, And then I brought in lilacs from outside for my mother. My mother loved lilacs. And I put them on the dresser in my bedroom, and I took a picture of them. And she had a Siamese, a cat, a Persian cat. And the picture out of the dresser are 2 Persian cats coming out of the dresser. heads of 2 Persian cats coming in out of the picture.
Wow.
Yeah, so
Very cool.
there's always, and I've had, where spirits had, that people had talked to me, that are on the other side, and I'd write down the messages and stuff. I haven't done it in a while, but it's, I'd be there and they'd knock. I'd hear them knock, who's that? And then they'd tell me who they were, and then I'd write the message down. But then there was one person, like, I didn't know if I should tell them, like, I think you had a section in the book about that. Like some people might not be into, not believing in this sort of stuff. And, and I wish I would have read that before I told someone that told her, and I wouldn't even said something, like you said about the child or whatever, where you didn't mention it to the people. So, but, it's just, I think everyone has the gifts. It's just imagine a thing of, awakening, or you learning how to use them and to know they're there.
Mm-hmm. We have to cultivate.
Yeah.
It's
yeah.
funny.
Some people live their whole life and never awaken. So
What I'm finding, Cass, Arthur, is that I'm being placed in. Of course, every morning I do wake up and I ask, so what am I supposed to do for you, God? Right? And I ask for guidance. And I'm just finding that I'm being drawn to people, or those who are spiritually aware and have a gift and are finding a way, or have the beginnings of a way to get the message out into the world. For example, we have my very dear friend with Huddle Bear, and then I just watched Drew Barrymore's show, and there was this lady called Cindy Tawaye, who's been the first lady to have a business of vending machines where you can get hair products. So you know how you have a vending machine, you get Coca-Cola and all these drinks. In hers, it's hair products, and she's now in a couple of airports, and she just went onto one military base with these products. And I just picked up the phone and she answered, and it was just I was hysterical, because I was like, all right, I'm being guided. And it just feels that what I'm trying to do for them is to be a conduit to, I'm getting messages saying, all right, the next place you need to go is to get this out. And we kept talking about Oprah Winfrey, and they have had pictures of Oprah Winfrey for the last 7 years on their dresses. And the most amazing thing is that, there are, I think this is the time where a lot of humanity is coming up to address the hurts that have happened in their journey since they were children. So there is that coming out. So that's where I am, and that's why I was asking you, and I asked Teri too. It's just amazing, and that's where I'm finding that I'm drawing all these, because they're also light workers, and that's why I was asking you too. And it's wonderful. So that's where my path is right now. I'm in between jobs. So thank you.
So Grace Isis, here's some affirmation, because Teri had posted that she was going to be talking to Catherine. Okay, what was her name? The author's name of Hey
Caputo.
Kathleen Caputo.
Yeah, Kathleen, and I watched the video yesterday, and because Jean, our beautiful Auntie Jean, had been a conduit of love and you, Grace Isis, I became aware of the story of the bear. And my grandson's struggling right now, you know, going back to school with his autism or Asperger, whatever title it is that he's struggling with. And so I ordered the Hey-Do bear through Jean, because she's doing an online auction for Teri. And I got the bear and I got the book, and an extra thing came that I'm going to be mailing out to you, Grace Isis, because it was intended for you, but it came to me because we were working together with it all. And it says, this is to certify that Grace Isis, now you listen carefully, by virtue of her beauty, strength, kindness, and friendship, has been inducted into the Hey-Do Bear Superhero Club on this 27th day of August, 2021.
Oh, thank you.
Here's your certificate.
And that's my birthday, Grace Isis.
I mean, isn't that so awesome?
August 27th.
Isn't that so? I mean, I think it's so beautiful, you know, and it's like an affirmation of everything that we were talking about today.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. Wow.
So I have the envelope and everything, but I'm going to be making the angel cards for the next month. So I thought, well, I'll pop them in the mail. So Teri, please send me Grace Isis's address.
I will do that.
Okay, or you can, Grace Isis, either one.
Yeah, because you were gonna give us that link to the Google thing.
Yes, to the Google
that
Doc.
would be
It has
That's
all the
what I
addresses.
need. Yeah.
Yeah, it has all the addresses. And yeah, I'll just share the link to it. And,
Thank you.
and anybody that's
Isn't
not
that
on it that
cool?
wants to be on it, we can update it with your address and your birth date, so we all know. We have a birthday coming up in 4 days. It'll be the birthday boy.
And thank you, Author Cass, for all that you've done and giving us the time from your glorious life. But, you know, you stopped and you gave us some time of, you know, the ticking of your time. Thank you so much, because you stopped on your journey to fill us, to fill our vessels with your presence and your energy and your insight and light. I just wanted to thank you on behalf of all of us who are here and those who are in the extended family. Thank you.
Oh, Grace Isis, that was
That's so
beautiful.
sweet. Thank
Yeah,
you. And, you know, and you in turn fill my soul and spirit and lift my spirit. And isn't that what life is all about? We're in it together, and that's what we're meant to do, is to hold each other up, walk with each other.
Absolutely. And I know we're coming up to the top of the hour. Cass, I just wanted to thank you again for being with us and ask if there's any words you want to leave us with.
You know, just as I said before, just trust yourself. You got it. We are all glorious spirits. We're one with the source. And it's when we forget that we kind of go, you know, and just coming back and reminding ourselves of who we really are and who we're related to. It's each other. It's each other. You know, and we can look and see the glory of spirit within every person's being. You know, it's right there. So, and never forget that you are glorious as well.
And we're all just walking each other home.
Correct.
That's exactly right. And I just got goosebumps, Charlie. Thank you. So,
Absolutely.
I'm going to carry y'all with me on the rest of my journey. I got 12 more hours on the road to go. And thank you.
Not all today.
Michael,
Thank
protect
you,
you.
Cass, so much. So much love to you and so much gratitude for this book that you've written that we all now have to use as a guide. So thank you.
Thank you.
Hello
Thank
to the
you,
little
my baby.
kitty.
It's so pretty.
Yes.
my gosh, look at those markings.
She's pretty, isn't she?
Beautiful. Well, let's get off of here and clear the channel. Next week, we'll do this again, but we'll be looking at, is there more to life than what we know? Thank you all for being here. We'll leave everybody with
Namaste, y'all.
Bye, everybody. I love you.
Podcast.